right, you'll do my best.
Welcome to PQI's Lunch and Learn. This is the second Lunch and Learn. You don't know me, I'm Beth. I work in child development. So one of the suggestions was to do kind of a historical look back at Rural Cap, but a lot of people knew a lot of other inside information that I found to be interesting and fun, so I kind of added a little bit of both. So we weren't always Rural Alaska Community Action Program. Does anybody know what we used to be? All right. So President Johnson established the Community Action Program, which established community action agencies, and Alaska had 3 of them, Fairbanks, Anchorage, and one in Southeast. And within those came Head Start, Weatherization, and Meals on Wheels, but also a lot of other programs. So just 6 years after statehood, Alaska State Community Action Program, ASCAP, was created. That's my statehood. All right. Originally operated under the Office of Economic Opportunity, ASCAP separated from OEO in 1966 to get out from under the state. They wanted to become a private nonprofit organization so they could run it the way they wanted to run it. In 1968, ASCAP formally changed its name to Rural Alaska Community Action Program, and now we're the only community action program in the state. So little did you know, Byron Malott became the director of Rural Cap in 1969. He went on to become Lieutenant Governor of Alaska and just recently resigned. We had a lot of famous people involved in Rural Cap.
Everyone misspells his last name.
Oh, I did. I added the T, and I actually did in the original one. There's another Malott question here too. So. Many programs have come and gone from Rural Cap. One such program was the alcohol program of 1978 that Amy Modig and her husband ran. And I found out some really interesting things about it. One was they developed places where people could go that were battling alcoholism, and they could come in and have meetings about it, and we provided them alcohol during these meetings as a safe place for them to come in. And then they talked about like rehabilitation and kind of getting through that, which I thought was pretty interesting.
It's like the harm reduction model.
Yeah, like hello 70s. Yeah. Alaska Legal Services, which is still in effect today, was created by Rural Cap in 1967. They offer free civil legal services to low-income and disadvantaged people. So they are now their own entity outside of Rural Cap. Another interesting thing that I learned was we were heavily involved in subsistence issues. We fought for the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, which was going to eliminate the hunting and gathering of birds and their eggs. And we were a huge proponent of that act not going through so that Alaska Native people can't subsistently hunt birds and their eggs. Other issues were the Marine Mammal Protection Act, the Porcupine Caribou Herd Treaty, and the Subsistence Advocacy Program, which ultimately led to ANILCA. So we used to be really involved in subsistence and making sure it was kept as part of traditional ways in life, which I thought was really cool. Oh shoot! In 1972, the salary for I screwed up my own presentation. In 1972, the salary for the deputy director was $17,000. I thought, wow. Hello, inflation.
Yeah.
About the building, good old 731 East 8th Avenue. Thank you to Drew for some of these. A man named Art Simonian sold us the building for roughly $3 million. He was an older gentleman with quite a sense of humor, and when he handed over the check to him to get the building, a look of concern came on his face, and he said it was supposed to be a $30 million check, not $3 million. He eventually let on that it was a joke, but he gave some folks quite the scare, which I thought was funny. used to be a carpentry shop downstairs. What? Yep. In the basement where residents in some of our supportive housings could make birdhouses, benches, and other woodworking items. And I believe it's where you guys are now. And there used to be huge ducts that would take all the sawdust out. And that program was around for quite some time. The Jonathan Solomon Room is actually named for someone real. I've talked to a lot of people who didn't really know that. He was a pretty influential board member, and he started on the board in 1969, and he was a huge advocate for subsistence ways and making sure those stayed in our program. And did you know, what was the Jonathan Solomon Room called before the Jonathan Solomon Room?
Blue room.
The Blue Room. The Blue Room.
Oh, yeah, I got it backwards.
I don't know why. The basement didn't only house a carpentry shop, there was also a beauty shop there called Reveal Aesthetics. Did you know that? Who ran it? Alicia. What? Really? I think we should have her
I
bring
think
it
she should do it
back.
too. I vote yes.
As I was doing this, a lot of people said, we should put an exercise room down there now. Yeah, we should. Go for it. As most of you know, the building was previously owned by Chugach Electric, and there's still a cash drop box outside where customers can drop off their payments. There's also in the basement where Head Start and Early Head Start have their cage. You can go down, you can't go down. You can go down there, but don't go down. And underneath the building, that was where all their generators were. It's this big black hole of a creepy space. So if you ever want to hide, when the apocalypse hits, that's where you want to go. The Great Room was once a library, and it was aptly named that for a long time before being called the Great Room. And I did not know this, but I've spent a lot of time here in the last 2 weeks that you can find records from every board meeting ever done upstairs in the upstairs copy room. And it is so interesting to go through years and years of board meetings and minutes, and I spent way too much time doing that, but I learned a lot. The upstairs of Rural Cap was once a school for the deaf. Who knew that?
I did, because of the door.
Because you pushed the button.
Yep, if you look today, each office in HR has a red doorbell. No, it doesn't set off a panic alarm, but what it does do is it turns the lights on in the offices to alert the students because they cannot hear the doorbell. I'm going to go look up.
Was it the state school that's now at East High, or is it totally separate?
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Was it the state school that's now at East High, or is it a totally separate school? Same school? Wow.
So if you push the doorbell now, does it still flicker the light?
Now the trap door.
I don't think they would appreciate it.
That's fine.
Also, in Carol's office in accounting, behind a panel in her wall is a washer and dryer hookup. She did not believe me when I told her this. We moved her bookcase. You can't get it off, but there is a panel there, and it was used to help the students in the School for Deaf on how to do their laundry. That was a pretty interesting find. Thank you, Drew, for that. She said, who's worked here long enough that they know that?
I like weird stuff.
All right, Head Start, because Head Start. Did you know the Office of Economic Opportunity was directed by Sergeant Schreiber, who married?
Maria
No.
Mother is
No, the
Is that her
mother,
father?
Ethel Kennedy. Is it Ethel?
Who?
Ethel Kennedy?
Nope, you're close.
All right, A. Kennedy.
Eunice
All right,
Kennedy, who created Head Start, Vista, Job Corps, and several other programs. What a dapper fellow. Did you know, in 1969, Governor Keith Miller proclaimed that week as Head Start Week? I don't think we've ever done anything with that since 1969. It's a little tidbit. Here's something I found really interesting. So Head Start requires physical exams, hearing, vision, well child, and they were instrumental in changing the views of rural providers. Does anybody know why?
Really?
Because prior to them having hearing and vision, it affected their ability to learn so much so that they were deemed retarded. And so after we started doing physicals, we created this otitis media program where we would go in and treat and test kids. And I mean, hundreds of kids were tested in this program. And it was that they had learning disabilities based on the fact that they couldn't hear and see very well. And to this day, we still do all of those testing.
Sometimes I wonder too if we help reduce the usage of who's boards too.
Probably.
Because early childhood was like a big advocate for saying these don't belong in clinics anymore, and they kind of quickly disappeared.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. Another little fun tidbit, Savunga Head Start wasn't always there. A group of community partners inquired to the board about creating a program in Savunga, and there weren't enough funds. So a group of women from Savunga created the Savunga Comedy Players Club and traveled around the state raising money for the program, and they funded it completely for the very first year.
Wow.
And that's one of them in the bottom right. Akiak Head Start program, early Head Start, operated out of a former chicken coop structure its first few years. And Alakanuk was sent a bus for their program, and it only lasted one program year because nobody had a license. And because nobody followed any kind of traffic laws or anything. So I believe the bus is probably still out there.
Appreciation. I have a good Akiak fact. In the big flood that Akiak had, we used to have a deck that's where the kids played for gross motor, but during the flood, the deck was taken with the water, and it ended up at the other house, and they like called it eminent domain or something. I don't know what they did. They called it their deck, and it is still attached to that house, and it is no longer our deck.
That is pretty funny. And that is Keith Miller, Governor Keith Miller. Not quite as dapper. Sorry, that wasn't very nice. Rural Cap subsidiaries. How many do we have? Anyone? One?
More than one?
Three?
7?
We have 3. Woo! First one is REE, which a lot of us know about, the Rural Energy Enterprises. They are a Toyo stove dealer all over the country. I heard through the grapevine that if you really want one at a cheaper price, we can make that happen. Several staff have done that, so it's kind of a down low. Patrick, you're not hearing this. They're our oldest subsidiary, and they're off of Raspberry, I believe. And they provide energy services and resources and equipment for people all over the country, maybe the world. RC 325 3rd LLC. I'm going to just go through the next one because they both are the same. And RC Muldoon Road LLC, which we know as Muldoon Garden. So, and I told Jessica I was probably going to botch this, but we are a partner in the company that owns these buildings. And we are the managing partner. And so they bought the structure, built the structure, we manage the structure. And we pay to fix the structure and house the people in there. So they basically were the money, we're the brawn. And then after 10 years, we will own the building. Something like that. It's probably not that simple, but that's what it is. They are slated for low-income housing. They will always remain low-income housing. So if you want more information on that, Jessica will tell you a million facts. I just really dumbed it down because she was showing me spreadsheets and, but yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting way to get a building. Do you have any other knowledge of that?
Yeah, it's under the LIHTC, low-income housing funding.
Yeah.
And the reason we manage, but there are other owners, is that we pass the tax benefits off to the other owners. That's why they funded and financed it. But we pay back on a monthly basis. And we're looking at other LIHTC entities as well. So Cindy and her team, a lot of are going through the training right now on how we manage a LIHTC fund.
And you can find information in last year's annual report that shows kind of which different entities bring in funds and how much. Other fun facts. You have some perks when it comes to IT. I know several of us know these things, but several of us don't. You can get Microsoft Office Suite and virus protection programs under Rural Cap's program for a discounted rate for your home computers. They will also put them on there because they want to make sure if you're using your home computer for anything work-related that it's safe and that you have the correct programs. Oh, Teresa's having. This also blew my mind. Not that I work from home or check my email, but I do. You can get a remote access, desktop access link from IT where you can log into your home computer and it looks exactly like your work desktop. How many knew that?
So when you're on site, we can log
Yes.
into our office computer?
Yes. I know. Is it slow? Right?
What is it? What?
So check with IT, they can give you access to it. If you do travel for Rural Cap, you can get GCI phones, which tend to have better service in rural communities, and laptops, or even iPads or things like that through IT. You can check them out. Human Resources is your go-to place for employee benefits. We get the gym membership reimbursement, $41 a month, and it can be used for other things. Somebody asked me about like Weight Watchers and those kinds of programs. You can use it for things outside of gym memberships. We do have the EAP, Employee Assistance Program. They offer legal and financial consultations, counseling sessions, whether in person or over the phone, online care, and resources for your health and well-being. And it's a free service. You don't pay anything for it. So I would go on, it's Magellan. Is it still Magellan? Are we still doing Magellan? Their website has a lot of information. Coursera. You never told me if I could do it, so I just did.
Do it.
How many of you have heard of Coursera? Coursera offers free online classes, a plethora of classes. Learn Spanish, learn French.
We know that?
Well,
Yes.
and one point about that is, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, go for it.
They're typically from universities across the world, actually. So there's good courses on there from everything from Wharton to Red River Vo-Tech. Well, maybe the Red River Vo-Tech didn't make it. But basic leadership to project management. And normally they're free.
So for those of us who have to do professional development, or we should be doing them, that's a really great way to find different classes and resources. Grammarly.com. How many of you have heard of Grammarly? Grammarly, you can input something you wrote, let's say a paper or a document, and it will tell you what you did wrong. It is fantastic. Alaska Import Service and Repair, he's kind of our go-to guy up the street here. He is really honest and will fix your car for a fraction of what other places charge. He will take your tires off in half an hour and send you on your way. So he's a really good guy, and you can walk there.
Does he put it back on?
He's right on the corner of 8th and,
You mean here?
sorry,
What is
way.
this one? Okay.
Sorry,
I
I'm
use them, yeah.
backwards, that way.
Yeah.
Is it only if you, like, say you work here? Or
No.
something?
No, you can tell from
You
your
don't
phone
even
number
tell
too.
him, I think
Call
he
from
does.
you.
He doesn't.
You're going fast.
Yeah, maybe we
All
should
discounts.
ask for a discount rate.
By the way.
An agency rate.
It gives
The
me
box bin
great
downstairs, just for new staff, we have a huge recycle bin of boxes downstairs that you can take and use for your own fun projects. Alaska Food Network, this is something that we're gonna look into partnering. It's a local agency that basically does full circle boxes, but with Alaska produce. You can order weekly, monthly, however long you want. But the other thing is they have, every weekend, they have a produce open house, like an indoor farmer's market, where they sell all of their produce that they didn't sell that week for a pittance. So check out their website, it's pretty cool.
They're moving, right?
They are
Yeah,
moving
I just got
this
their address
weekend.
yesterday.
Well, this weekend will be their new location off of Arctic and 50.
Did you know their building was condemned? That's why they had them.
Because of the earthquake?
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Anchorage Chamber of Commerce, we are members. Not many of you signed up because I know. Shame on you. We have a lot of benefits through the chamber. They do a lot of free professional development opportunities. We get board meeting room space if you have a training. Lots of fun things. This Friday is their Anchorage Chamber Open House Holiday Party, so go, sign up and go, it's fun. Free food and drinks. Win a lot of prizes. For people who like to be involved in their community, they're a great way to stay connected and involved. They have a young professionals group. They have lots of different opportunities. So I would love for a lot of people in our agency to sign up because we pushed for it. I'm going over my time. Canva, I don't know if any of you know about Canva. It's a fun website that you can create different documents and flyers and brochures if you're into that kind of thing. Easy to use. And they actually come out looking professional because they have lots of templates that you can just plug stuff into. So there's that. All right, trivia time. Not even have prizes. What Rural Cap program, ending in 1970, provided jobs for adults with history of chronic unemployment?
D.
Tracy?
D.
Nope.
B.
Nope.
One more
C.
mountain.
C.
Well done.
Operation Mainstream, in just a short period of time, they trained over 400 people. The people that they trained in rural villages built infrastructure, roads, runways, so I thought that was pretty great. It was getting people who were chronically unemployed out into the workforce. Next, how old was Byron Malott, with 2 T's, when he became the executive director of Rural Cap?
Is there multiple choice?
32,
46.
Nope.
28,
27.
33, 34,
57.
Nope.
86.
Nope. Nope.
72.
Wait.
18.
Give us a decade. Higher.
26.
26. He was 26 years old.
I'm failing.
Good job.
And there was, you really should look this up because there was a huge to-do about it. And there's a lot of history there. So I would recommend you look up the history of that.
If you
And
want to celebrate his birthday, it's April 6, 1944.
how do you know that?
He
Why do you
was-
not know that?
Who doesn't know that, Beth?
He was my mother's 10th birthday present. She was born on April 6, 1934. Byron is her younger brother, and he
wow.
was born on her same birthday.
That's crazy. All right. We know that the basement had a woodworking shop. Which program provided the woodworkers?
B.
Everyone else guessed.
B.
Who said B?
Wow.
Alicia.
Homeward Bound was a community reintegration program for homeless chronic alcoholics. And so they lived in this building, came here and built and sold woodworking items. And then there was a community-bound program that kind of took off after this. So lots of different programs and initiatives, hundreds. Okay, I went a little over. So what's next? Our January 8th Lunch and Learn has Professor Claire Dannenberg and Anchorage Coalition to End Homelessness Director Jasmine Kahn. They're going to present on their findings on community perceptions of homelessness and what we can do as a community to address and change those perceptions. So they did a big study. They're going to come and show some data, and we're going to look at what people think about homelessness in our community and what we can do to help it. So that's it. That's all I got. Any questions? 'Cause that's all I know now.
Actually, I want to add one more thing to resources. The library provides a thing called Lynda, L-Y-N-D-A, and they have classes like in Excel and Word and all, same thing, but it's a lot of, and as long as you have a library card, you can log on and watch these videos, and they're really, really good.
All right, that's cool. The local library also has an e-library where you can take books, videos, music, and get e-books and stuff for free. If you didn't know that too. Okay. Anything else, any other tidbits?
I just had a question.
Yeah.
Can we get a copy of this by email to us? Is that possible?
Or their portal, on SharePoint.
Well, I think they're gonna post it on
Yeah, we'll
SharePoint.
find a way to get up the video, but I think PowerPoints, are they being posted on SharePoint? Do you know, Matt?
Yeah, we can put them on there.
Yeah, okay.
Of course.
We can
size,
do
you know,
both.
Yeah.
This isn't a
Yeah.
PowerPoint, so it's a website. But we'll
We'll
figure it out.
figure
Thanks, Team Claire. You did a good thing else? All right, well, thank you for coming. This was great.
Very cool.